From undisclosed locations for reasons of security and insecurity, I present to you MnRTV Live Show. Extraterrestrial Contactee and Shamanic Awakening special guest Sandy Corcoran, who will be on our show tonight at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But wow, what a week it's been. A week of learning and a week of just amazement. But without further ado, I present to you the one and the only, the man himself, Mario. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very good. I'm happy to be on your show tonight.
Great. So are you excited to get our guest tonight, Sandy?
Yes, I am. Very.
Corcoran. Yes. And it's so, how's been your week?
Very good, very good. I'm happy that we're doing the show.
Excellent.
All right. So shall we commence, or do you have anything
go ahead.
else?
Yes.
All right. So let us begin. All right. Here she is. Go ahead.
Now you go ahead.
All right. So this is the blog. This is the blog. Refresh if you don't see this. And here's Chatango. Hello, everybody, for showing up. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And
here's the picture of the week.
And the picture of the week: King, Prince, Duke, Queen, and don't forget the Joker. I don't know about you, but I found it like, sometimes it's a sad situation, but sometimes you have to sort of like be chill about it. What's your opinion on this picture?
Oh yeah, it means a lot of things. People die. That's it. It's sad. That's it.
That's all you comment on it?
Yeah, they die, and it's sad, fortunately.
Exactly. So let's get on with the conspiracy talk, I suppose. Oh, before I forget, this has been brought to you by the Anti-Illuminati Task Force. Go ahead.
All right. So here's our Chatango. Thank you, Rosanna, for showing up, and whoever is else out there. Always appreciated. Always appreciated. All right. So now let's begin the news, right?
No, you have to show. Did you show the?
Yeah, it's all done. Now we'll start the news. There we go. There we go. Here we go.
Did the chemtrails flu kill Prince and Merle Haggard? Was Prince killed by the chemtrails he and Haggard spoke out against? That's from InfoWars. Right there. The artist known as Prince has died suddenly out of a mysterious illness, just like Merle Haggard, and both men previously spoke out against chemtrails. Many have suggested are responsible for a surge in respiratory illnesses. The singer, full name Prince Rogers Nelson, had a medical emergency on April 15 that forced his private jet to make an emergency landing in Illinois, but he appeared at a concert the next day to assure his fans he was okay. His people told TMZ he was battling the flu. A mysterious illness has been spreading across the U.S., coinciding with massive chemtrails spraying, and it's possible the two are linked. What do you think, Mario?
Oh yeah, he spoke up. They got to him.
Prince even spoke out against chemtrails during an interview with late-night host Tavis Smiley. Mr. Smiley, he talked about, but this was a couple of years ago, I think. I'm not sure, though. What do you think?
Yeah, it's possible. It happens, Very possible. I mean, these things happen. People speak up, and they go after them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to take. I heard it's going to take 4 weeks. It's going to take 4 weeks to for the toxology report to come in.
How? When they didn't they incinerate him?
Yeah, they cremated him. Hi, Polly. How are you tonight, sir? Yes. I hope it gets warm because it's darn cold today, these days. I mean, isn't it gardening season? Yeah, and there it is. There's the article right there, and yeah, that's it. So we don't know. I don't know. I mean, he spoke about it earlier, and it's not very good. Well, he spoke about, but it's okay if he did. There's nothing. He tried to expose, but a lot of people are saying it's an Illuminati sacrifice. I don't know.
We'll see.
Indeed. Okay, so that was from Infowars. What's the next article you have?
What's going on? They're the same too. Or no, this is something different. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, backroom. Yes, bathroom backlash. Over 500,000 signed petition to boycott Target. Target's policy is exactly how sexual predators get access to the victims. Petition states. I mean, there's gonna have like male, female, and transgender bathrooms, and Target just recently last year left Canada. So I don't know. A petition calling for a boycott on Target's over-the-store new bathroom policy promoting gender inclusivity has reached over 500,000 signatures. Featured at the American Family Association website, the petition contends Target's new policy means a man can simply say he feels like a woman today and enter the woman's restroom, even if young girls or women are already in there. Furthermore, the petition asserts Target's policy is exactly how sexual predators get access to the victims. The new bathroom policy also disproportionately endangers female bathroom users, according to the petition. Clearly, Target's dangerous new policy poses a danger to wives and daughters. We may think customers will agree, and we think the average Target customer is willing to pledge to boycott Target stores until it makes protecting women and child a priority. I don't know. I think that's wrong. What do you think?
The sick world. It's only getting
I mean,
sicker.
I mean, come on. I mean, we have to do political correctness, but isn't this taking a little bit too much? And look what it says over here on the tweets. I wonder how safe women shopping at Target are going to feel when a man follows her and her small children to the bathroom. Another one here says, so Target says, use whatever bathroom you desire, men or women in their stores. My family will not spend another dime at Target. So I don't know about you, but it's not right that he does that. That they do such a thing. I've been to Target, and it's just like you go in there, folks, and then you look around. It was all red, and you don't want to stay there. Yeah, that's for that article. I wonder if it's Harp that did this.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, look what Paulie put. Yeah, we're taking political correctness to a ridiculous level. Yeah, we are. I find. I mean, I don't want to get myself in trouble here by saying what's some of the ridiculous stuff we have to do political correctness, but it's ridiculous, and after this, the transgender, it's going to go to something another level, which I don't want to say on air, but I think you know what I mean, eh, Mario?
Yeah, for sure. It's coming. It's coming.
So
All right, here's the next one.
Prince and the Illuminati blood sacrifice conspiracy. Welcome to IlluminatiWatcher.com, your home for exploring the shadow world of entertainment through esoteric exploration of occult practices. With much sadness, I thought it would be of interest to explore the strange path of Illuminati of Prince. With much sadness, I thought it would be of interest to explore the strange path of Prince from inception, his early death. The concept of Illuminati blood sacrifice is never far from the lips of conspiracy theorists, and I believe that to be for good reason. Prince was only 57, and he appeared to be in decent shape. It only begs the question of why he passed so young. Let's take a look. Okay, and as we scroll down, it says when he died, Prince and the pineal gland and third eye. Prince was obviously a complex man and an artist. Throughout his career, he kept us guessing as to whether or not he was an Illuminati occultist, or if he was hip to the conspiracy and tried to reveal it to the masses. His artwork and symbolism suggested he was interested in Eastern occultism. Concepts such as the pineal gland, third eye, yet his religion remained to be that of JW, Jehovah's Witness. I didn't know that, did you?
Mm-hmm. I knew it.
That he was a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised that they allowed him to become an artist. In fact, shortly before his death, the Twitter page that represented Prince charged the main image to his third eye being open. Yeah, the third eye, that's what we do to open up the pineal gland to astral travel. Okay, in 1993, he changed his name as a form of rebellion from the record label that owed him. Prince is the name that my mother gave me at birth. Warner Bros. Took the name, trademarked it, and used it as the main marketing tool to promote his music. Yeah. He infamously scrawled the word slave on his face as a form of protest against an industry that surely has a dark side worth considering. The symbol he chose as a combination of the male and female symbols suggests he was into recruiting Illuminati team of gender neutralization. This could be more the LGBT movement than just equal rights. If you consider the beliefs of the history of the occult, they believe that humans were originally androgynous beings and someday will return to this perfected state. Was Prince interested in pursuing the pan-gender perfected state? Was this a symbol of the alchemical wedding and embracing opposites? Well, look at that right there, folks. We know there is an attempt at destroying the male-female paradigms in order to usher in the digital matrix held through transhumanism. So maybe this is one way of really predictive programming sent us from Warner Brothers under the guise of stage rebellion from this famous musician. We've seen recent attempts at making the pan-gender movement more mainstream, with the questionable motivations behind Bruce Jenner's transition and Miley Cyrus's claim to be the same. The article from UK with Miley tells us about her pansexuality. She then goes on to discuss her opinions on gender and relationships, saying, I'm very open and I'm pansexual, but I'm not in a relationship. I'm 22, I'm going on dates, but I change my styles every 2 weeks, let alone who I'm with. I don't know, it's a messed up world. It's very messed up, and I don't think it's very good. Someone's asking if we're actually on air. Are we?
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone's just saying that.
Yeah, we are on air.
Okay, as long as we are on air. Okay. I thought we were having conflict last week. Yes. I believe there are many users of stunts to push the message in order to steer society down a path of merging opposites, pursuing the alchemical wedding and androgynous perfection, a symbol embodied in the familiar Baphomet. Oh, yeah. Baphomet. Right there. Don't want to see that. And there it is, the all-seeing eye in a ring right there. He's playing guitar. Prince wasn't a total stranger to the all-seeing eye. Symbolism ever either. Take a look at some of the album covers. Controversy, Prince, Purple Melody, Prince, Graffiti, A Bridge, and Prince, Welcome America, on the all-seeing eye. Well, we know where he stood. Chemtrails, NWO, and secret U.S. history. Prince went on mainstream television and proceeded to warn us about chemtrails, the New World Order, and much more, as featured in an article I wrote in 2013. Prince was on a late-night show of Travis Smiley and started dropping knowledge of chemtrails, New World Order at the UN, and global manipulation. He said that we're all indentured servants and currently slaves on a plantation. Prince said he doesn't vote because he's a Jehovah's Witness, although he said he thinks Obama means well. He said that he could recall literally aggression when seeing chemtrails as a child, and a speech that Dick Gregory gave that everybody needs to listen to. He also made an enlightenment point that there were several presidents before George Washington, which I don't recall ever hearing before either. But think back to your history books. The United States declared its independence in 1776, and yet Washington was until April 30th, 1789. So who's running the country during these initial years of this young country? It was the first 8 U.S. presidents. In fact, the first president of the United States was one John Hanson. I can hear you now. John who? John Hanson, the first president of the United States. Don't go checking the encyclopedia for this guy's name. He is one of those great men that are lost in history. If you're extremely lucky, you may actually find a brief mention of his name. I never heard of him. Did you?
No, never.
He was the first president. Illuminati blood sacrifice of Bellatine. In terms of Illuminati occult holiday traditions, Prince passed away during a crucial time period for those that follow the pagan calendar. Many claim that the Illuminati conduct blood sacrifices in the 13 days leading up to May 1st, a holiday known as the Bellatine. The bonfires were previously called Baal fires, referencing fires for the god Moloch, also Baal. So in essence, we could call them Baal fires. The blood sacrifices of human to this occult god Baal is being played out in different forms. Oh yeah. they even putting up. They even want to build up. They even want to build up temples in New York and London. And now in New York, I think people, they told them no, we don't want it. And there's the video right there that it talks about the video where they want to erect these things. The May 1st pole dance features a male phallic pole with the couples dancing around a circle representing the female sexuality, and is yet another symbol of fertility for Mother Gaia. Tears claims that the British Royal House of Windsor lights a Beltane fire. Okay, I think you're going too fast. It's okay. Destroying the ego and altars. When it comes to the idea of using alter egos, Prince takes the cake. Before Nicki Minaj and Jahin Akito touted multiple personalities, probably MK Ultra folks, and names, Prince was rotating through various personas, suggesting he was either channeling spiritual energies or experimenting musically. This concept was also featured in my hip-hop conspiracy book, Sacrifice Magic Behind the Mic. No, Paulie. Colonel Sanders was first president. I hope you're kidding. I never heard him. I know he made great chicken. I wouldn't eat the chicken now, but it's probably kind of fattening. But I don't think Colonel Sanders was the first chicken. Not at all. And here we have a list of people that are into the Illuminati right there. I'm not going to say the names, but you guys can see it. And don't forget, after the show's over, all the postings of the show, all the links will be up in the description of the video. Now we could see it right there. All these names, are these evil names? What do you think, Mario?
They're actors and singers, rap artists.
Yeah, but that means if we want to become actors, which we love acting, does that mean we're evil?
No,
Does that
but
make
if
a
you want
heavy
to make it
factor?
big,
Only if you make it big. But I wonder if people in Quebec, when people in Quebec, they'd have their shows and everything, if they're in it, or you have to be like really big. I guess on the star scene. I think that's it with that article, or is there more? I think, I mean, I don't want to do all on this over here, but, there's Prince and Aleister Crowley, another one that talks about sacrifice magic behind the mic. They talk about that, and it's not very good.
all music
Involving.
is satanic. All music
Pardon?
is satanic. All music is satanic because Aleister Crowley is behind it.
Yeah, and we tend to listen to this music, but I think everything's getting to the point where we don't know what's good, what's not. Every man and woman is a star, they say. But no, look. Many online personalities have actually become celebrities through their YouTube channels, or perhaps some starting on a reality show. In this modern time, anyone can become a Crowley star. I don't want to become a Crowley star. I'd rather I'd rather not do anything and just stay quiet than being a star. Because a star doesn't that mean it's a fallen angel?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. L.A. Reid reveals the elevator devil connection. That's another one right there, but we're not gonna go to it because it's too long. We're not doing a show about it, but yeah, I mean, so is Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. There's even rumors that Paul McCartney is the real one is dead, and we have a clone. But a lot of stars are dead. And it just makes you wonder if the people are like that. But I do think that once you join it, that's what happens. Yeah, entertainment, but I don't think entertainment is good at all. I mean, if it's evil. Okay, so go to the next one. And this I'm sure you heard on the news today, didn't you, Mario?
Mm-hmm.
First case of sexually transmitted Zika virus confirmed. And this is CTV News. Canada has recorded its first confirmed case of sexually transmitted Zika virus in an Ontario resident whose partner was infected after traveling to a country where the mosquito-borne disease has become endemic. The case was announced Monday by the Public Health Agency of Canada and the Ontario Ministry of Health, but no further details about the residents were made public. The diagnosis was confirmed after testing by PHAC's National Microbiology Laboratory in Winnipeg, which is still investigating another possible case of sexually transmitted Zika. On March 24th, Saskatchewan's Deputy Chief Medical Health Officer said that the province was scrutinizing the case of a woman who was believed to have contracted the virus after having sex with a man who had traveled to a country where Zika is prevalent. Does this not sound another case of last year with Ebola? Ebola was the same damn thing. And I don't know about you, but it seems like another false flag. Except Ebola was scarier. So what are your thoughts on Zika, Mario?
We could ask Mr. Bill Gates. He'll tell us because he's the one that made it.
And he also makes these computers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these computers we can't even do a proper show because of Windows 10. Very sad, I mean thank God. I mean, maybe people can't do shows if they have Windows 10 and do a Google Hangout. Ah, Brazil has the Olympics coming up. Yes, Brazil. Very interesting place, Brazil. That's for sure. Many interesting people out of there. Okay, we have another article here. Researchers are using the vibration of your skull to identify you. Yeah, that's a new form of ID right there. There we see the image, and as we go down, uh, can you make it a bit bigger? Thanks. Thank you very much. Conventional passwords are marching to their death, and biometric authentication might be the future, especially with the possibility of widespread fingerprint scanning or facial recognition technology. And now researchers in Germany have a new way to give users access to their device. Their techniques, which they call skull conduct, relies on the unique ways sound passes through each person's skull. Each skull modifies sound differently, and the researchers measure these minute differences to use as a authentication system. The researchers took 10 participants and put them in a silent room. They recorded skull vibration samples by having them each wear a modified Google Glass that played white noise. The Google Glass application records sound as it plays and converts the data it gathers in a byte file. Each participant's skull vibration sample was recorded 10 times, which the researcher then used to test whether the Google Glass could correctly identify them. The system correctly recognized users 97% of the time. Well, 97% is good, but it's still not 100%. You can't start like authenticating stuff if it's 97%. I mean, imagine going on your computers and there's the 2% chance that you can't get authenticated. So it's still not perfect. But I say we're a step closer to the mark of the beast. It's Google Glass, and I thought they got rid of Google Glass, didn't they? Mario.
Yeah, I think they did.
Exactly.
Definitely.
For sure. Exactly. Yeah, well, tourists must come, but I've never been to Brazil, but I've heard it's a pretty interesting place to go to. Okay. Next article that you found that we found is 1 million access to Tor. Accessing Facebook over Tor may seem to be a contradiction, but apparently that's not the case for millions or so users of the anonymity service. Facebook on Friday said it in April for the first time there were more than 1 million people accessing Facebook over a Tor in a 30-day period. As a comparison figure, Facebook said that the last June, for a typical 30-day period, it logged 525,000 people using Facebook over Tor. This growth is a reflection of the choice that people make to use Facebook over Tor and the value that it provides them, said Alec McFit, software engineer for security infrastructure at Facebook in London. We hope they will continue to provide feedback and help us keep improving. Facebook made itself available as Tor Hidden service in October 2014 and immediately alleviated problems that Tor users had in trying to connect anonymously to Facebook security controls. Native to Facebook put a number of roadblocks in the way of Tor users. Yeah, I've connected to Tor to go into the deep web a couple of years ago. We did that, Mario and myself, and well, I don't know. We saw some pretty nasty stuff, but we got out of it. And I don't know. I don't plan on using Tor. What about you?
No, it's useless.
I mean, they could still get you. It's just probably more nonsense. Before Tor, I think, was fine, but now I think more and more people know about it. And the more people know about a certain product or device or anything, the more it gets diluted and more people use it. And then more and more hackers or whatever. Now, in this case, it's the government that's going to go into Tor and monitor you. There's no way of beating the system when it comes to these things. Not at all. We're going to have our guest right here. It's going to be coming on to talk about shamanic healings and alien contactee, which will be coming on at 8:15 p.m. Later. So, folks, don't go anywhere. And that's it.
Yeah, soon we'll be back and we'll get the guest on. So stay aboard. And here she is.
Biography: Sandy Corcoran, MN, CDC, AOBTA holistic coach, writer, shamanic counselor, and workshop facilitator. As human beings, our greatness lies not so much in being able to remake the world, that is the myth of the atomic age, as in being able to remake ourselves. Mahatma Gandhi, Masters in Integrated Arts Expressive Therapies from Lesley University, Cambridge, MA. Undergrad degree in Special Needs Education with Psychology, Biology minor. National International Workshop Facilitator, teacher and speaker for the past 25 years. Author of Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight, and the recently released CD compilation Sold Out. Original Meditations to Reflect on and Renew the Self. Co-founder of the STAR Process. 91. A method of spirit healing which helps you to reclaim aspects of your core self. I have studied for the past 35 years in both modern and ancient healing techniques. The potency of these teachings and energetic healing modalities still hold true millennia later and are being proven today by studies in new biology, epigenetics, and quantum physics. I offer integral coaching sessions in person or via Skype for those at a distance, with the intent of utilizing a holistic mind, body, spirit approach. Classes, workshops, and journeys nationally and internationally are offered to help clients establish new perspectives, to reframe old or current issues. Other alternative therapies I may include when working with a client are PSYCHK, dream psychology, star process soul retrieval techniques, or Sesto, spirit healing, applications, Seneca Earth Path charts, a First Nation psychological counseling tool, Theta State guided meditation, both tarot readings for imparting psychological and behavioral clarity. My primary North American mentor was the late grandmother Twila Hurtnich, who shared her vast body of work to be used as a psychological tool to help others uncover inner awareness, moving them past their outer issues, and who assisted me to claim my role as a dream counselor. 1. Who assists others to understand the information held in their dreamscapes. My primary mentor in the South American Andean mystical tradition is Drive Juan Nunes del Prado, who initiated me in '94 as a 4th level Peco in a Chunpi Peco. Pecos are healers and teachers. His work has helped me navigate this world of living energies, developing the gifts within myself that I have come to express and use with others. Trained in all the protocols for PSYCHK. Certified through the Upledger Institute for Cranial Therapy. AOBTA certified with Kiko Matsumoto and Kokuko Miyazaki. And studied through the Academy of Future Sciences. As a writer, I've given numerous radio interviews and had articles published in a variety of publications spanning topics from the mystical and transformative to the power of the dream to healthcare design trends used to uplift patients in high-stress hospital settings. See media. For over 30 years I have delighted in offering guidance and alternative perspectives to clients worldwide through both tarot readings. This is merely my story. My work as a coach is to help you express your story as you plumb the depths of your deepest yearnings and sift through the treasure that is you. I would be honored to work with you in whatever capacity you are looking to design for yourself.
All right. All right. Thank you.
We're back.
All right.
Okay. Polly, I cannot go back to Windows 7. I never had Windows 7. I bought the computer Windows 10 because that's what I needed, because my Vista, they soon won't be able to, and next year it won't work. And right now, the Chrome, we don't get security updates. So I got a Windows 10 to prevent these problems, but these things happen. But hey, it's technology. So even if I had Windows 10, iCore 7, $4,000, it probably would still happen. It's like that, but it's nothing to worry about, right, Mario?
No, I mean, it's, what can we do? It's borrowed technology, right?
Yeah, well, we know where that technology comes from.
No,
And Yeah, we know it comes from the technology, don't we, Mario?
Yeah. I don't think I'd want to get a Windows 10. In fact,
I got it out of force.
In fact, I almost feel like running away from Windows after when Windows 10 goes and never look back to Windows and use alternatives like maybe Chromebooks and that.
I love my Chromebook. I'm telling you, you know how much I love the Chromebook. It's just too bad I didn't have Skype. But did you see the article I put up on in the Conspiracy Talk about all the new Chromebooks are going to be able to get the Play Store apps? Did you see that by any chance?
Google App Store, yeah.
Yeah, I put up that article, I don't know, yesterday or whatever. So that makes me want to get this even more. I'm telling you. Will you want to buy a Chromebook even more if we're able to get the Play Store app?
Well, for sure. Why wouldn't I? I mean, it's a good idea.
I just wonder if we're able to get that though. If on my Chromebook, I think it's only certain versions. So, but hey, if I really want a Chromebook, it's only $250, right?
$260, yeah.
Yeah. I never really like Windows. I used to always bash it. Now I know why. I try not to bash, stuff, but it's life, I mean, that's it, yeah, Paulie's right. Everything works the same these days. Everything works the same way. It's made to break, or it's made not to work. But that's it. So yeah. So Mario, are you ready to get our guest tonight? Extraterrestrial Contactee and Shamanic Awakening.
Always.
All right. So I'm gonna try getting her while you hold the fort, my friend.
All right. So it's good that everything's back on track and we're getting this done because, like I said, she's very interesting, and we like having interesting people come on the show and talk about their experience, what they've been through, and what they what they feel like sharing, and what they share is it's always very nice, I mean, that's the whole point, it's always nice.
Robert? Yes, Sandy.
Awesome. I was having a bit of a problem there for a minute.
It's okay. I was having about 10 minutes ago. I was having a problem. My computer went frozen. My brand new computer, about 2 months old, went down, and I hope it doesn't do that. It always happens. I mean, I get a new computer. Last week I had to use my old computer, and it still does this. Any computer, I believe, it'll mess up.
That's so funny because I had to buy a new one 3 weeks ago. Mine did the same thing.
Oh, really? Which computer did you buy, if you don't mind me asking?
I got an Apple Air, and then I got a really cheap desktop to, get a lot of my Word docs out. But I burn these things out probably every year and a half.
Oh my gosh, that's something else. But anyhow, let me give you a proper introduction. Sandy, welcome to my MnRTV Live Show, folks. I'm going to be talking about Extraterrestrial Contactee and Shamanic Awakening, our special guest. So go ahead, Sandy. Tell us, would you please tell our viewers who you are? And by the way, my partner Mario is with us.
Oh, hello, Mario. How are you?
Good. Glad you're on.
I am a shamanic practitioner and a workshop facilitator. I've been working with First Nations and Indigenous people for probably the last 35 years across the Americas, as well as through the British Isles and Egypt. And through those times, I have met many interesting people along the way who have very similar beliefs about the nature of the world and the cosmos. And I guess I've just been very blessed that way in my life through some very painful circumstances that led me in that direction.
Okay, and how did you first start being trained with this? Did you go somewhere? Did someone take you under their wing and start training you?
Yes, many years ago, probably about 35 now, my first daughter passed away. And when she passed away, I kind of lost my will to live, not in a way that I wanted to commit suicide or anything like that, but I just didn't have a rudder anymore. And I was out one night driving around town like I used to do to kind of isolate myself in the car. And I ended up stopping at this facility that I did not know, but the light was on, and I needed to take a bathroom break, if you will. And through a series of circumstances, there was a neighbor there who was giving a lecture and doing a workshop. And I hadn't really heard anybody's voice for, the 3 or so weeks since my daughter had crossed. And when I went up to the woman afterwards to thank her, she told me that I was one of the reasons why she was there, and that I would come back and start to teach with her, and that I had promised Great Mystery that I would put my feet to this path, and it was time for me to get started, and that my daughter had been a gift to get my feet to that path. And over probably a series of the next 25 years, I'm a First Nations person to another, mainly women, until I was sent to South America, and that's when I started working with the men down there. So I have a broad spectrum of different cultures that I've worked with, but the common thread throughout all of them is that, we're all human beings on this planet together, and we need to observe nature and the rights of nature, and that if we can act with one heart and one mind, we'll have a better chance of surviving if we keep up at the pace we're certainly at right now.
Oh, I could imagine. So, when you were training, what kind of stuff did you learn?
Learned how to work with the nature spirits. Learned that there was more awareness and life in things than we give them credit for. That tree spirits and even rocks have a personality and a teaching. The different ways the wind moves and what happens during different seasons, how to be able to work with those energies. We're shown different healing perspectives from many of the different cultures, and how to use those both in an emotional and psychological and physical way. Not that, healing always means curing, but it often means changing the perspective of something so that you can see the emotional or physical content in a different way. Taught about dream time and dreaming, and learning to navigate our dreams and the inter and multidimensional worlds that surround us at all times. And it's been quite a long journey.
I could imagine. So, in your view, what are dreams?
Excuse me?
In your view, what are dreams?
You're cutting. Oh, dreams. Every night that we all have the ability to listen to our dreams, become lucid in our dreams, because our dreams are actually the fabric of our reality. And that, a lot of times the question is, are we dreaming right now? Is this part of the dream, or is this part of our waking reality? And so that's one of the ways to learn how to navigate the different multidimensional universes that we occupy. The dream time is one of them, just like being able to communicate with nature spirits is one of them. And being able to work with the light body of a person, the physical body, but the energetic content of what is around them, and how that interpenetrates with everything and each other. And that when moons occur at that level, they end up manifesting at the physical level, and that's where things like soul retrieval and susto healings and some of the other more traditional ways of healing people in the indigenous cultures can be used in, in this white bread world that you and I live in.
What is soul retrieval?
Soul retrieval is a belief that and a practice. It's been occurring for millennial, and a lot of epigenetics and quantum physics proving that it's a reality, that we are more than just these physical templates, and that within the light body structure and the DNA structure within each of us, we have the capacity through our environment, through our emotions, to be able to heal certain wounds, so that instead of staying at the denser levels where people carry their shame and their guilt and their anger or their woundedness, they're able to shift that and bring back the more higher vibration encodements in themselves that vibrate at a higher light level and consciousness level, and that when you bring that back to a person and help them disengage from the cords that are holding them more to the denser vibrations, that you actually help shift their DNA and help shift their healing capacity.
Just yesterday, I was talking with someone, and they told me that I have to turn my vibrations up. How do I do that? And they told me to think positive. Is that how you shift your vibrations to the next level of consciousness?
Well, there are different ways of doing that. Of course, there's meditation, there's prayer, there's communing with nature. I think the most important thing is learning how to forgive ourselves for the way we've learned our lessons, and then being able to forgive the other person who kind of was on our path and helped impose those lessons. It's learning how to know that, you know, we're more than this consciousness. We're kind of, I like to think that we're a unique droplet of divinity in these physical templates and personalities, and that our awareness can stretch well beyond the reality that we kind of get caught up in every day. And I think that that reality pulls us down to a more base or dense level where we're not able to accelerate the capacity to stay in a higher vibration, which is more one of love and forgiveness and integration. And I think that's an important part of uniting the polarities that pull at us all the time and come to a place of true integration within ourselves. And that keeps it at the higher level of vibration that your friend might have been talking about.
Okay, through meditation, prayers, and being positive. How do you go about controlling anger and anxieties? Is it the same way?
I think it's the human nature is that we're going to get angry, that we're going to feel shame, that there's going to be anxiety. But I think we don't let it rule us. And I think so many times we stay in that heightened discord that brings up in us, and we don't let go of it. We don't try and change it. We just keep feeding it. It's like feeding a beast. But I think when you, like I was saying before, when you try and move to a more neutral place, a more integrated place where you can see what's happening and not engage in it at the level of always staying in, let's just say, anger or shame, you have more of an ability to pull yourself out of it and come back to a place of balance. It takes a long time. It's not something that you do overnight or just because you say you want it to be so. You know, it's like mindfulness meditation. It takes practice. It's like learning a foreign language or remembering your dreams. It's not just a wish. It's the intent to do the work and then the accountability to make that happen.
Okay, yes. How did this all happen? That once you were trained, what did you learn? Were you able to do something called like energy healing?
Well, you're able to be the container. And what I mean by that is a medicine person, a shamanic person, they never call themselves that. It's the people, the community that recognizes them for the work they can do. And I believe that any good healer becomes a container for the other person to recognize themselves and recognize what they're doing to themselves. But like I said, energy healing work in general doesn't always mean curing. And I think one of the things our societies leave out of the equation that many First Nations people and Indigenous people deal with is everything goes through cycles. So we're all going to be born, we're all born, but we're all going to die at some point. And we seem to lose track of those rights that bring us to the next level of whether that's coming into boyhood and a female menses, or whether it's the new cycle of having children, or whether it's the cycle then of growing old and dying. We're generally a society that tries to stave off dying, and that's just one very unique part of the cycle. And so healing allows, energy healers that have been through good training, and medicine people who have been through good training approach the next cycle not as something to fear, control, or something to manipulate, but a container in which to hold the space so the people or the community or the tribe can work their way through that next cycle.
Death, after death, what is it that happens after death?
Well, I can't be sure of that, Robert, but I believe that what happens is we all return to the oneness of supreme consciousness. I believe that there's a power far greater than our individual human selves that we are all part of, that we can move back into being in union with. And when we choose to reincarnate again or to come back and learn more lessons, the unfortunate part is it is our own decision to do that. But when we come here, because of third dimensional reality is of a denser vibration, we forget pretty much the lessons we wanted to learn. And so we repeat the cycles of the things that we know, like war, like anger, like guilt, like shame, because they're known entities to us. It's not that we wanted to experience that again, but that vibration is something that's known to us in a different way in physical form than when we're in our more conscious awareness after death.
Do you believe in multiple or parallel universes?
Yes, I personally do. I've had experiences with that, both in the healing work I've done and in the ritual work, ceremonial work I've done. I think that parallel universes are different realities occupying the same dimension but a different frequency, so that if it's vibrating at a higher or a lower frequency, when you are that within your own physical body, you can sometimes have that encounter with that other dimension.
In the other dimension, is there another Robert, another Sandy, or is that just like a myth?
Well, I'm not talking about that in any kind of psychotic way.
No.
Yes, I think that when you heal something in this life, you heal it across time and space. So you heal it in any of the other energetic imprints you've occupied in other realities and in other systems.
So that means there's more one of us in other realities.
I believe so, but I believe it's all encompassed within the one. If you want to call that great mystery or the all that is, or the divine essence, or God, I think it's all contained within that, I don't know what to call that greater picture, I guess.
Okay, so before you said something about entities, what do you mean by entities?
What was the question that I referred to entities in? Because there's many different ways to look at that word.
Okay, you just said before we encounter entities or something.
Well, there are many different energetic entities. You can talk about the spiritual beings, you can talk about the angelic entities, you can talk about the inter or extra dimensional entities, you can talk about the nature entities, the Devic kingdom. There's many different energetic constructs that are called entities.
Okay.
Are you referring to like the star beings, Robin?
Yeah, well, we might as well get started with the star beings. Yes, for sure, indeed. What are star beings?
Well, most of the indigenous peoples that I have studied with all have a common belief that Earth was seeded by many other galactic races that had come here kind of as a storage house of information, a library, if you will, but that there are many different types of star beings that come from many different stars and constellations and and extraplanetary systems. So many that we're not aware of because our awareness has not spread that far yet, but there are certainly many systems that can support life that might not look like us, but certainly life that can exist as a humanoid type or other forms of life. Just to name a few, there's Lyra, the constellation of Lyra, where their main star Vega has had, I believe, have come here to Earth. There's Sirius and Orion, the Pleiades, Arcturus, the Zeta Reticuli, which many people call the Greys. I just think there's been, people believe that there are those that are watchers above us, that there are energies and entities not human that are among us, some that are living underground, some that are living under biopods underneath the ocean, that there's just a lot of documentation that really hasn't been disclosed by a lot of the governments, but all the governments are very, very aware of these entities.
Have you ever been or seen any underground bases?
Yes.
You've been there. What happened? Are you able to tell us what happened or what you saw?
I will just explain one. I was in an underground water base. It was beautiful. It was of a vibration and a color that I haven't seen above on ground in the planet. They were very aquatic beings. They were able to breathe and move around underwater without any kind of scuba diving apparatus. I was very young when I was taken there. I have not been back there since, but I do believe there are underground bases all over the world where many of these civilizations have been and continue to be.
How were you taken there? Was it like some kind of spaceship? Was it physically, or was it like through astral travel that you went to this place?
I believe it must have been through astral travel.
Mm-hmm.
I have where I have felt myself dematerialize and rematerialize when there have been some kind of ships involved. I think there are more advanced types of ships that are almost living, breathing energies. I think there are ships that contain some of the different planetary species aboard them that are able to cloak themselves and move in and out of visual reality. So there have been different ways that I have had experiences since I was very young with a couple of different, what I would call planetary species.
How did you become a contactee? Was it your intention, or just sort of like you were chosen to be a contactee by them?
I think there are millions of people all over this world, Robert, that are contactees, many who don't remember, some who signed up. I happen to have memories from the time I was about 3 years old. I think I buried those memories when I was in elementary school and junior high, but they came back to me when I started to have the visitations again. And then I worked with Dr. John Mack and a group called PEER back in the late 90s. And Dr. Mack was very well known. He was a Harvard professor and psychiatrist who worked with anomalous experiencers that he knew were not crazy and that had other realities that they'd experienced. And he did some really great books on it and some really great work around the world. And he had many other people, from shamans to religious people to astronauts to quantum physicists that likewise believe. I think at some point there will be disclosure, because so much is happening right now that it's going to be hard to continue to hide it for much longer. But, you know, that's a constant hope of mine, so I don't know if that will be a reality.
Disclosure. We always hear about disclosure. Do you think there'll be full U.S. and global disclosure anytime soon? Is that what it's leading to?
You know, if you look at a lot of documentation, it started, I believe, with the Spanish Air Force quite a few years ago, but most governments do have those that have disclosed that they've had documentation on this for quite some time. And the United States is one of the last to do that, I think, because it will involve our military complex so badly. But, you know, once disclosure is a fact, that's going to really cause shockwaves for people throughout religions, throughout politics, throughout commerce. So I think, you know, the longer they can keep it under wraps, the better they feel they are. If you look at things like how countries guzzle gas and fracking that's going on, that's destroying the planet, we realize that we've had free source energy and 0-point energy for a long, long time. It's going to disrupt many, many corporations in this world when disclosure happens. And I just don't think those in power are willing to let that go yet.
You mean the global elite that are in power, that don't want to, that they want this, that control most of humanity? They want disclosure not to happen.
Yeah, but I think that's going to break down. There's only so long you can keep a secret, and a secret that millions of people know and believe to be fact. You really can't hide that for too long. You know, I think there will be things that happen as long as there's no false flags around it. I don't want to see, you know, something get set up where there's some kind of disclosure followed by some kind of major event that makes everybody afraid, because these beings are not there to hurt us. They are there to help us, and they are there to watch over us, and they will not let us destroy this planet, because it will destroy many other systems within this galaxy. But they're certainly not going to save us from ourselves. And I think that is the part of the lesson in the consciousness is, can we come together and not destroy ourselves? And, you know, what would be the point of that? We all live on this very tiny blue planet.
What do you think would happen if disclosure was done? Do you think it'd be like a worldwide panic, and everybody would be saying what's going on? People wouldn't believe in religion or God or anything like that?
Well, I think, you know, there is a God. It's not that you believe that the ETs are God. I mean, the ETs are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to raise their level of consciousness to a higher level. They're not supreme beings. They're more technologically advanced than we are, but they're still working towards the common goal of unity consciousness. And I think there's a way for disclosure to happen without panic and chaos happening in the streets, but that's going to be determined by how disclosure is presented on a worldwide basis. And is that going to happen in a true and real and authentic way, or is that going to be done in a movie set way that's going to scare people?
Do you believe the U.S. government is working with aliens right now as we speak?
They've been working with them for years. Most governments have been working with them for years, and not for the higher purposes, because our military complex has certainly brought into a lot of control. And, you know, that's the ultimate battle is the polarity between dense and light encoded energy. And in the end, the light encoded energy is always going to work out, but there has to be a balance point. There has to be an integration point between those two polarities that are struggling so hard. And that's a battle that's been going on in the galaxies and the universes for a very long time, much longer than humanity has been on Earth.
So I'm sure you've heard of places like Dulce Base.
I'm sorry?
I'm sure you've heard of places like the Dulce Base in New Mexico.
frankly, I never want to go there.
You've heard about it, though.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
I've done numerous shows on it and had people, and that's one place I wish I could visit, but the experts have told me, no, you don't want to go there. Like at Nightmare Hall would have genetic experiments and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think, genetic experiments have been taking place since the Big Bang. And part of that is to create some kind of energetic being that can get us back to God consciousness quickly. And then I think you have the more aberrant energies of scientists and the global military complex and other things that are experimenting in ways that have gone really wrong and really bad and really evil. And if you really look at what evil is, you spell evil backwards and it's live. And live is not what these people are doing. They're creating aberrant energies that, from what I understand, it's pretty chaotic there.
What are these beings? Are they fallen angels, demonic entities, or something else?
I'm not quite sure on that, Robert. I think, call me Pollyanna, but I believe that at the root of everything, we all have a soul, and that soul has a consciousness, a moral obligation to be the best it can be. I think, without being silly, that there are a lot of people that don't adhere to that because greed or power or some other form of wrong living has overcome them. But I don't know how to answer that question because I'm not God, and that's in the end up to God. However you see God, I don't see God as white bearded and two-legged up behind the clouds. I see God as a energetic vibration of pure love and power that goes beyond anything we can imagine in these human forms.
These entities, what do they look like? Are they the Greys, the reptilians, the insectoids? Is that how these entities look, or something totally that we've never seen or can imagine before?
I'll only give you my experience.
Sure.
And because they've been labeled so much in the writings as bad, I don't think all the Greys are bad. I do think there are some of the Greys that are working with some of these mantis-like beings. I know that there are the tall white beings that have been using Earth as a way station for thousands of years. There's what I call the golden-haired ones. I see them as a very loving vibration that has really been here to help us for a long time. There are the reptilians, but they're part of our DNA blueprint too, and some of them are of an aberrant energy, and some of the Grey who were highly into the abduction experiments, where they were doing crossbreeding and things like that, but they were trying to save their own race because their own race was dying out. They had bred heart energy and sexual energy out of themselves. There's just many different kinds out there, and I've only, been exposed to probably 4 or 5 different kinds.
Okay, that's fine. I've had people or previous guests come on the show, and they were telling me that they've been sexually attacked by these entities, and they've had children. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Yes, I have. They had a whole hybrid program. That's part of what I believe the military complex, the black ops, not our brave men and women who are sent out to war as GIs, but black ops have been aware of and have helped with. That's part of the trade-off is because the Greys were dying out as a race, they were doing hybrids with some earthbound beings to be able to save their race. And I do believe some of those children are among us now.
Yes, I do believe there are aliens walking, or aliens or ETs walking among us. And I had some information before that some of them, they look a bit different from us. Some of them might have 2 pupils or 6 arms. 6 fingers or 6 toes. Have you ever encountered or know about any of these types of people?
Yes, I've passed people that I know for sure are human, and the way I look at them and the way they look at me, we both know that we know. They cloak themselves very well, and they're in I believe they're in every category of work in this world, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's common blue collar worker, whether it's farmer. I believe they're among us in every capacity. And it's not to take us over. It's not to scare us. It's not to herd us all like cattle in a pen and take over the earth. That's what I'm afraid of in terms of the wrong type of disclosure. If that kind of information gets out there, that's all false. They're not here to do that. They're here to help us raise our consciousness to a higher level, to be more aware, more loving, more intentional, more psychic. And then you've got the other side of the polarity that's working to get machinery and technology and all those energies that don't correspond with the life force energy that's positive.
Speaking of technology, do you believe that all this technology we have here, computers, cell phones, tablets, iPads, iPhones, it's all alien reverse technology of some kind?
I don't know if it all is, but a great deal of it is. We've had quantum leaps in technological advancements. You even look at what some of the astronauts who were not allowed to talk to us about what they saw out there, you see what some of them have tried to express in their later life or before they died. We already know that we've been on Mars long before just the orbiter was taking pictures, that we know what's going on the other side of the moon, that, anything that NASA or the government says, whatever government it is, Russia, China, the United States, England, that's happening right now, oh, it's great advancement. They're already 20 times ahead of that in years from what they're divulging to us now. I think a really great example of that was the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, where you saw the initial craft she was in that was destroyed, and yet there was this other one on another secret island across the other side of the ocean. I think things like that happen all the time.
Do you believe that there are portals on around the Earth that we can go into these other dimensions?
Yes, I think a lot of the original portals, I think there are vortices and portals, whether it's in the air or in the ocean or on the Earth, and many of them on the Earth are covered by sacred sites. That's why people are drawn to those areas, whether they're ley lines or synchronic lines or portals into interdimensional or multidimensional spaces. That's why the civilization built those structures there, and I think they're all over the world. I think if you look at the Earth as a living organism, it has chakra points and it has connection for the entire system, just like we do.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think we're able to go into these portals easily, or is there a certain ritual magic that we have to do to go into these portals?
I think magic is only something we don't understand yet. That's why advanced civilizations look so magical to us. I don't think it's magic. I think some people have found their way there purposely and others by mistake. I think that it has to be the right place, the right time, the right person for it to be a perfect storm of the energies all kind of meeting at that synchronistic or integrative point together. I don't think anybody can just walk up to a portal or a sacred site and just say, I want to enter, and be able to have that happen. I don't think it works that way.
Unless you're able to go in a spaceship and go through a wormhole, a black hole, which I don't think is possible right now to be able to do.
Well, I think travel through wormholes is possible because it's just kind of a ribbon in time collapsing on itself to be able to move with speeds we're not aware of or used to, into other dimensions. But yeah, I don't think it's easy for most people to just be able to enter a portal and be transported out of here.
Since you've been an alien contactee and you've probably witnessed some stuff that maybe some certain elements of the government have not wanted you to see, have you ever been threatened by the MIB, the Men in Black, or anything that close to that?
You know, I don't know. If I have, I probably wouldn't remember. They have a way of being able to do that.
You mean they've erased your memory or something along that line?
I believe they can erase your memory. I don't have any memory of mine being erased or meeting a man in black, but I can't say never, no.
Have you ever been hypnotized?
I don't allow myself to have that happen.
Oh, okay. Why? Is it dangerous to be hypnotized? Is there a certain particular reason?
I have been regressed. When I worked with Dr. Mack and his assistant, Roberta, I did allow myself to be regressed, which is how I was able to uncover some of these memories. I had met somebody at the Star Wisdom conference that Dr. Mack had put on in 1998 that I remembered from being on the ships. I had no memory until I saw his face, and then it all came crashing back in. And ironically, he had the same memory of me. He'd been talking about me to them for quite some time until I showed up. And they took us to the disclosure committee at Harvard because they were the ones who were funding. We didn't know that was happening. The gentleman and myself didn't know that was happening. But to go through a straight history, told a long time ago by my guides not to let that happen to me, so I've just never knowingly been hypnotized.
Something called you do energy healing. Have you heard of Reiki? Have you ever done that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. That's been around for quite some time.
And where does the healing come from? This energy that we heal, like where does it come from?
Well, Dr. Lucy, who first brought Reiki to the United States, it's the universal energy. It's source energy. It's being in alignment with a higher vibration of what is capable for all of us. I mean, that's what manifesting something different is about. It's aligning yourself with a higher vibration to be able to bring something of a higher nature through. Can people use that in a negative way? Yes, of course, but I would not want the karma that would impose upon me should I do anything of that nature. I've
done Reiki in the past, but I never heard of it doing it in a negative way. How's that possible?
No, I have not. No, I'm not talking about doing Reiki in a negative way. I'm talking about using universal source energy in a negative way.
Okay.
Reiki is using it in a very powerful way.
And, yes.
Yeah.
Is that like kind of like the law of attraction? You attract what you get. The more you think of something, if it's bad, you always think of it, the more it comes to you?
Well, I think where you put your attention, that's what you're going to draw to yourself. I think a great example of that is what's happening in the United States right now with our election system. You see people fighting and getting into very nasty states and speaking out against other cultures and religions and races, and it's gotten really quite ugly. And I think when you feed that energy exponentially, it can make things even worse. And I know there's many of us now that are seeing that to add to that, to argue about the candidates, to get into that fray isn't doing anything to help. I think that's part of the lesson of higher consciousness. It's being able to maintain a level of balance even when there's chaos happening all around you. And just a great example is the political system right now. I think anything that pushes you into a state of frenzy is not holding you to a level of balance, and it's imperative to come back into balance to make a good choice.
I have a few questions from my guests over here. But what's in it for them? They are spending a lot of energy and resources to do this with us. There must be a payoff.
Can you repeat the question, Robert? You just
I cut off? Okay, sorry about that. Okay. But what is in it for them? They are spending a lot of energy and resources to do this with us. There must be a payoff.
For who?
For the government.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're saying the government is spending a lot of energy and resources, what, to hide the fact that we've had contact?
Yes. That's what the question. My audience is asking the question. One of the questions.
Oh, okay. I believe that goes back to power and greed. I think that as long as you can stay in power, you can manipulate the general population. That's why they're spending that much money and effort on it. It keeps them in power just a little bit longer.
Okay. Can healing energy be measured in any way with today's electronic equipment, or has it already?
I think energy can be measured. I don't think all the frequencies can be measured. A good example is like you and I only see in a certain spectrum of light, but there are certain animals that can see in infrared and other spectrums. So it depends on the machine and what it's trying to pick up. But, you look at anything like MRIs or CT PET scans or anything like that, that's picking up certain pieces of information. So it depends on the machine and what it's geared towards and what they're looking for. But beyond that, I think, yes, you can pick up, I think there are machines that can pick up the energies of individuals and other things. I think that's very common right now.
Another question I have here is, have you ever astral traveled to another dimension? And if so, how long does it take for this to happen?
I think the way I would like to answer that, Robert, is that when you have out-of-body experiences, or when you have lucid dreaming experiences, you're able to be in other dimensional places. Similarly, when you do certain medicinal plants under the construct of a shaman or a healer, such as ayahuasca or San Pedro or ibogaine, I think that you can hit other dimensions because your experience of yourself expands. So I think there are different ways for that to happen. I think people in high meditative states, when you look at some of the yogis and some of the high Tibetan monks, they're able to move into other dimensional space through their meditative practices. I think there are many ways to do it, but it takes practice, and it takes intent, and it takes the ability to hold a certain state of vibration.
So anybody can do astral travel?
I think with enough practice, yes.
And is it true that astral travel, you have this umbilical cord that could never break, so that you could come back into your body anytime?
While you're alive, yes.
Yeah. And and through astral travel, have you ever met any negative energies, demons, or whatever you want to call them, lower vibrational entities?
I think there are low vibrational entities that you can meet just about anywhere you are. And I'm not just, I'm not talking human forms. I think there are those of a denser or lesser vibration that if you want to attract that kind of energy, you can. But, and I think it's possible to bump into that energy on rare occasions. But if you're not putting your focus there, I don't think that's what you're called to. I think if you're, I think that's what third dimensional reality and moving into this fourth, fifth dimensional space is all about. I think there comes a time when the shaft and the wheat get separated, and those who cannot raise their vibration to a higher level just stay in this third dimensional quagmire, and those who are able to to learn, to practice, to authentically move into a higher state of consciousness can occupy the same space and still not have to energetically feel necessarily. Now, I'm not talking war zones or stuff like that. I'm getting a bit outside of what I feel comfortable talking about, but I think there are energies out there that aren't always good, but I don't think you naturally collect those to yourself unless you.
Do you believe that the mind is a very powerful tool? It can heal, it can control, it can do just about anything if you put your mind to it?
I think the mind is a very powerful thing that we still do not have enough knowledge about. I think, our environment and our emotions can turn on and off certain genomes in our system. I think our DNA can be corrected. I think we can bring a mindset of prosperity and peace. But I don't think most people know how to do that or are able to hold that container for a long period of time.
What do you think of the fact that we have two strands of DNA when we're supposed to have, I think, 10 or 12 DNA, and apparently the Anunnaki took it away from us? What are your views on this?
I believe the DNA structure is repatterning and reaccumulating itself. I think if you see some of the children that are being born now, there are some very special children being born that have a higher DNA structure. I think that we probably were originally a 12-strand structure, but now we're a 2-strand structure, and I think that was probably bred out of us because we weren't possibly morally highbrow enough to handle it.
I have a question here. What are your views on Jesus Christ?
I think he was a fabulous man who existed, who was an ascended being, who tried to teach us how to ascend, and I think he's a very high spiritual figure.
Do you think he's the Son of God?
I think we're all the Son of God.
Okay, that was another question over here. Do you believe that there is an evil entity called Satan? And if so, where does he reside? Is it in another dimension or alternate reality?
I don't quite know how to answer that question. I think Satan is a compilation of all that can go wrong with consciousness. So as much light as you can get to that much darkness as well. And that's the polar strain that keeps pulling at the universe. And it's our point as divine droplets of divinity, even though we're in denser human form, to remember that integration point. That's the way I would like to answer that question.
Sure. What are your views? I know this is probably an old question, but what were your views on December 21st, 2012? Did you think that that's when everyone was going to vibrate their energy consciousness to a higher vibrational state? Or did you think it would have been the end of the world? Or did it start on December 21st?
I believe that time frame was a door opening. I think that there were many cultures around the world that spoke of that cycle coming. I didn't see it as the end. I saw it as a new beginning. But like any baby that is just born, we have a whole growing cycle to go through. And it didn't give us instant karma or instant consciousness or instant relief. It was the beginning point to strive towards something higher and better. But it was definitely a birth.
Speaking of birth, do you think we're at the end time of this timeline on Earth for something new to begin?
Do I think it's time for something new to begin?
Yeah, like if it's the end, like sort of say this is like the end of the world type scenario, and something new is going to happen.
I do think something new is going to happen. I don't know what that is. I have a lot of conjecture of what might happen or what I'd like to see happen. I do believe that more and more people are coming to a place where they're not willing to give away their power. And I don't mean that in terms of fighting. I mean that in terms of not fighting. I think most of us on this planet want our children to be safe and to be fed and to be loved and to have shelter and education. We're pretty much at a time where that's not happening around the world, that the elite are really pulling to stay in power. I think most cultures, at least cultures that I've been trained in, talk about a new vibration, a new time, the fifth sun, the sixth world, a new yuga. I think the planet itself is constantly going through change, but I think our consciousness now as human beings is going through change as well. What that happens, what manifests from that will be up to us.
Do you think sooner than later, all disease and illnesses are going to be able to be healed, and we're not going to have it anymore? Like sort of like having a utopia of this world. Is it coming?
Is it coming? I would like to think so. I don't know if it will be in my lifetime, but I think we will eradicate a lot of diseases. But as you can see, a lot of new diseases are coming in to take those place. So whether those have been genetically engineered to dummy down the population, or, you know, the planet holds 7.5 billion people right now. It's at a collapse point with what it's able to hold with its resources. But I do believe that we have the capability eventually to live in a utopian society. I just don't know if that would be in my lifetime.
What do you see as things going from here? Do you see people becoming elevating their vibrations, or do you see the opposite happening?
I see both happening.
So what's going to happen to the people that do and the people that don't? Are they going to die off or anything like that?
You know, Robert, that's a tough question. I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions and suppositions about that, but in the end, you know, who's to say? I think we're the arbitrators of our own history, and I don't know how to answer that, because I think there's infinite possibilities and we can go in any direction at any point. It depends on how many people want to go in the same direction at a higher caliber of compassion and forgiveness and ability to make change that's positive and sustaining. And you see more and more the polarization that's happening on the planet, and what will control that or change that, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, don't you find that there's something that's gonna be happening, like something big's happening? It's just like it's in the air type thing. I don't know. A lot of people tell me that, and I get the same feeling also. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I feel, you know, time has sped up, even though the day-to-day of a calendar or the clock don't change. You can feel that vibration has sped up. I think things are manifesting faster and faster. I think, you know, on the one hand, we're going to such advanced technologies, and on the other hand, we have so many people dying of hunger and war. Yeah, I think something huge is happening, and I think what it is a really speeding up of time as we know it, and that's what's going to flip us into a different level of consciousness.
Do you believe there's going to be worldwide economic breakdown and social upheaval, or is this just a timeline that could be averted?
I think it can be averted, but I think you see people getting closer and closer to anarchy, because there are a lot of unhappy people whose needs aren't being met. There's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of ability with what we know from technology to science to social change that can make a difference, and it depends on whether or not that happens. I think we're all responsible for that. I don't think we can turn and point our fingers at any one group or any one person, because I really do think if we're in this as a global society, we're all responsible for what happens.
What are your thoughts on that we're living in sort of like a holographic universe, that we're like in a machine type thing? Have you ever heard of such thinking?
Yeah, and I think it's a good theory. It's like I was saying to you on a very small level at the beginning of your show, you know, is what you and I talking about right now, is this the reality or is this a dream? And is the audience part of our dream or are we part of their dream? I think there's a lot of ways to look at that.
I do wonder if time, everything that's happened has already happened. It's like time, it always existed. It never changes. No past, no present, no future. It's just there.
That's an interesting concept. There's a very interesting book. I can't recall the name of it right now, but it was written by Barbara Hand Cloud many years ago. And her theory was that all this has happened before, and the imprint in our memories when we come back to reenact it as different characters on a different stage keeps taking us back to the same cycle because the memory is imprinted in us, and it's much easier to gravitate back towards the known than to unwind it and move towards a different future. Again, it's something we're all in together. None of us are going to get out of this. We're all in this together.
Do you believe like if we reincarnate, we're always with the same people that we are in this lifetime, and the next lifetime will be basically the same people? Like, you know?
I think you come back in soul groups, what I consider soul groups. You know, and you might interact with people that were on the periphery of that or intimately connected with that. I don't think, you know, your family always comes back as your family, or your best friends or your lover always comes back as the same person. But I do believe we come back to work out certain paradigms under certain conditions with certain people. And but I see that more as a larger group than a very specific, you know, you're always in the same family or you're always with the same person.
Wow, that's something. So do you believe that after reincarnations, is this up to a certain point you don't reincarnate anymore? And if that happens, where do you go?
I do believe that there are people that don't have to come back through the bardos and reincarnate again. I think there are people that can learn their soul lessons. I think that's part of what Jesus was trying to show us, and Buddha was trying to show us, and Muhammad in his way was trying to show us. The Virgin Mary was trying to show us. Kuan Yin was trying to show us. I think that you can attain a state of consciousness where you can belong to the universal one and not have to keep coming back. I think some of the Hindu priests and the Tibetan monks are very good at that. Some of the Native American shamans were very good at that. But I think as a whole, most people choose to come back to work out certain situations or correct certain patterns that they had in the past that don't serve the higher good or their higher good. And so they choose to reincarnate again to work those things out.
Do you think, what happens once you don't reincarnate and you're with the universal one? Where do you go? Is there a place like a paradise of some kind? You're with God or something like that? What are your views on this?
My most simplistic views on this would be that we're in a universal one consciousness of pure light and love, because I do believe we all come from the one and we will all return to the one, and that our individuation or our fragmentation here as memories and human bodies is just a very simplified aspect of learning. But at a higher level, our souls all vibrate as one.
Do you think that we?
I think in the end, Robert, we're all one mind and one heart at the end.
But will we be an individualistic person somewhere else, like in the end of all ends? That's.
If we choose to reincarnate someplace else, yes, we can do that. Reincarnation just doesn't happen on Earth. Reincarnation just doesn't happen as these humanoids. I think we can, you know, many of my teachers have said, we used to be trees, we used to be fish, we used to be other types of human beings, we were different genders, we were different religions, we were from different planetary systems. But when the Big Bang happened and when the last bang takes place, however that is in the universal structure of beingness, I think it all goes back to one heart and one mind.
how do I say this? When we reincarnate, like, if this happens right after death, like after death, what happens? Like you go back to the original source and you reincarnate. So in reality, there's no fear of death.
I think death is, like I said again earlier, part of the cycle or the process of being in physical form. I think in those states, some call them the Bardo states, some call them the in-between states, where your consciousness is aware and part of the existential whole again, kind of observes what you did and didn't do and what you might do to help or change some things in your own consciousness structure. I think you can choose to come back at that point. How fast or how long in between, I think that varies very much with whatever it is individuation is trying to do. But, you know, do I have that whole structure, knowledge of that whole structure? I can't say that I do, Robert.
I have a question here from one of my guests. The ancients had knowledge of herbal medicine and survival. This knowledge is being eradicated little by little. Can we ever retrieve this knowledge, and how?
I think there's a huge insurgence of using plants, keeping good seeds, teaching yourself how to do your own garden and do your own medicinals from that garden. I think there's a huge resurgence of that. I know many people that are working with that right now, so I don't think it's dying out. I think it's harder in the cities than it certainly is in the country, and I do think with deforestation and GMOs and companies like Monsanto, a lot of things are being destroyed, but I do think there are people that are really working the other end, and not in a desperate way, in a very good way.
So there's the bad, but there's also the good, so it equals out in the end.
I believe so.
Perfect.
That's my infinite faith. I have faith in humanity despite what I see on the TV every day.
Do you fear, like many people do you fear death, or do you look at it as something that's going to another place later on and continuing the adventures, sort of speaking?
Nobody, you know, none of us wants to die. I certainly don't want to die with pain or
Right.
fear.
Yes.
Do I know I'm going to die? Yes. Do I fear that process? No. Do I think I will move on to the different things I believe in and have been taught all these years? Yes, that's part of my faith. I don't think faith is something that you can throw away. I think you either have it or you don't. But yeah, I'm not afraid of death. I would like it not to hurt, but I'm
That's
not
for
afraid
sure.
of death.
Yeah, that's for sure, you know. So in closing, can you tell us about your book and your website and what you're working on next, if possible?
Sure, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
The name of my book is called Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. And it's a compilation of some of the teachings I've been through. I have a meditative CD called Souled Out, SOULED. I take people on, I do a lot of workshops and teachings. I have a private practice, but I take people on journeys to sacred sites. So I've got one coming up in Peru and one to the Federation of Damanhur in Italy. And I'm going to be teaching in London in June at the Shamanic Lands. And then next March, I'm going to be doing a trip with a soul sister of mine, Indigo. We're taking another group to Egypt. So there's a lot happening.
You're going to be a busy person.
I am a very busy person.
Wow. And did you tell us your website also?
Yes, it's www.starwalkervisions.com, and that's StarWalkerVisions.com.
And where are you located for my viewers that may have missed it?
I am located in Massachusetts. I have a private practice in Natick, and I give workshops locally and nationally and internationally, and all of that is on my website.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much for coming on our show. It's been most very interesting. I mean, I've learned a lot today that I haven't even heard of before, you know, but it's wonderful. I love getting new information, and I'm sure, and all my viewers really did like you because they had a lot of questions for you.
Well, Robert, I am just delighted that you had me on the show, and I thank you very, very much, and I thank your audience as well.
And also, it'll be on YouTube, and I'll send you the link. I'll probably Skype it or send you I'll email it to you once the show's up.
I would love that. I'll put it on my website and on my Facebook.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming on the show, and have a good night, and we'll talk soon again.
All right, Robert. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, Mario, what a wonderful show we had tonight. I mean, it's just been mind-blowing as usual. I mean, the guests that we get, just like, you know, it's just, I don't know, you know, I'm just blown away. Well, how about you?
Yes, I'm glad we had her on. We got to learn quite a bit of stuff, you know. I mean, I'm glad we had her on.
I mean, I never heard of it before, that we could have been trees or insects or stuff like this. It's just, you know, I mean, we learn all kinds of stuff all the time, and we're doing research, and it's great that you came on the show. And do you have anything else you want to add to tonight's show?
No, that's just more or less it. I mean, I'm glad we did what we had to do. I mean, right? I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it's great, except when we had a little technological breakdown, but that's part of the MnRTV Live Show breakdown that happens. It always happens. It's the staple of our show, you know. I mean, it can happen. It's because we're making a difference, folks. That's the way I see it. And we're going to end the show, and we want to thank you guys for coming on our show. We love you guys. God bless you all, and we'll return next week with another great show and another great guest. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for watching. We'll be back hopefully. Okay, bye. Good night. Bye.